Hello, everyone. I'm lee.mooring, and today I want to help you prepare for one of the most powerful Sundays of the year, and that is Easter Sunday. This message is intended for church pastors and leaders who want to enhance the Easter or resurrection experience for their church and for the visitors. Now, I know you all may be thinking this: why should I listen to this guy? Well, I am the pastor of an online church, All About One Church, and I've served on ministerial staffs for 8 different churches around the world. My education background is in pastoral studies, and I know a thing or two about organizations betterment. For the last 15 years of my military career, I provided organization assessments to include communication and leadership training to thousands of military leaders worldwide. Additionally, over the past 60 days, our online ministry has reached over 150,000 people. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, I don't know what Easter looks like at your church right now. Maybe it's packed, or maybe it's light. Maybe it's a little chaotic, but I want to help you make it intentional. I want to help you make it strategic and, most importantly, spirit-led. Because let's be honest, this isn't just another Sunday. This is Resurrection Sunday, and the world is watching. So let's dive into why you need to prepare, what to do, when to do it, and how to pull it off without burning yourself out or your team and just hoping for the best. Because let's be honest, some of y'all are just doing that, just hoping for the best, but we want to be intentional. First thing is this: why should we do all of this? Well, it's simple. Because Easter isn't just about big crowds, it's about big impact. People are more open to God at Easter than they are at any other time of the year, even more than Christmas. And I'm not saying that based on vibes. I'm saying it based on research. And scripture says this in Luke 14:23. Jesus said this: "Go out into the highways and hedges and compel them to come in, that my house may be filled." And that word compel, that's not passive. It's not drop a flyer and hope. It's intentional. We have to be intentional about inviting people in. Easter is a kingdom opportunity. It's where invitation meets transformation. We're not chasing attendance, we're chasing eternity. So now, what should we actually be doing? We need to create what I call an Easter outreach and hospitality strategy. Now, that might sound fancy, but it's very simple. It's made up of 3 key pillars. Number 1, invite. Number 2, inspire. And number 3, integrate. So let me break those down for you. First, invite people intentionally using both digital and personal touch points. Inspire them with experience that is warm, that's gospel-centered, and that is excellent. And integrate guests into the life of your church through meaningful follow-up. This is the key. There's no sense in inviting and getting hundreds and thousands of people if there's no follow-up for them to come back the next week. If you do those 3 things, well, you're not just getting visitors, you're creating discipleship momentum, and that is so very important. So now, when should you start doing all this? If Easter is a harvest, you need time to till the ground. And here's a simple timeline that's going to work. First off, let's start 8 weeks out. 8 weeks out is when you start planning. It's when you choose your Easter theme. It's when you lock in your sermon titles and you begin praying as a team, not for a packed house, but for changed hearts. That's at the 8-week mark. Now, at the 6-week mark, here's what you should be doing. You should begin announcing Easter to your church family. Start creating invite tools, both physical cards and digital content. Begin your internal promo on social, email, and during Sunday service. This is key. At 4 weeks out, start running local Facebook and Instagram ads. Launch your Easter sermon series. Encourage personal invitations from the pulpit. And if you've got a plan your visit system, then launch it at this time. Now, at the 2-week point, when you're 2 weeks out, this is all about the full court press. Equip your greeters, your ushers, your kids team, everybody. Do a full walkthrough of the service and triple check your hospitality systems. Now, when it comes to Easter Sunday, preach Jesus, love people well, and give clear next steps. After this Sunday is over, what does next week look like? Then, the week after Easter, this is so vital. Follow up with guests via text or email or handwritten notes. They will go a long way. Share a recap video. Invite them to the next series or your Welcome to the Family event. So that's a breakdown of from 8 weeks out on to after Easter has occurred. So now, how do you do all of this? Let's get practical. First is this. Develop a theme. Keep your theme simple. Keep it bold and focused on resurrection and hope. So here's a few ideas. Come alive. Hope is here. Empty tomb, full life. From death to destiny. And then use that theme that you have for Easter Sunday. Use it everywhere. Social posts, invite cards, stage design, even your sermon title. What you're doing is you're building a buzz. You're building a buzz in your congregation, and you'll get everybody involved. You'll get that buy-in from everyone. But you have to start planning and being intentional about it. Don't just wait till the night before or the week before to say, here's our Easter theme. Start thinking it out weeks in advance. The next thing to do is you need to properly equip your church to invite. Make it easy for them. The easiest thing to do is pass out invite cards every Sunday leading up to Easter. Post shareable graphics on your social media. That way, your congregation can simply share it to their own pages. But this is so very vital. Help your congregation help you. Also, challenge your congregation to bring one person with them. Just one person, just one family. Invite their neighbors, bring them out. In doing this, it's going to give them an opportunity. There may be some relatives in the area that they want to invite, but encourage them. Give them a simple task. Invite just one person with them. Next, what I want to suggest to you is create a 30-second invite video with members sharing why they're inviting someone. This is so very vital. People want to see folks that look like them in the congregation. So by having your congregation help out with this videos, it's going to be less staged and more them speaking from the heart. Let's be real. Your best outreach strategy isn't your ads, it's about your people. Now, when it comes to advertising, I suggest using Facebook or Instagram ads wisely. Target your local zip codes. Don't put something out there for the entire world or the entire country or your entire state. Look at your zip code and then go outside maybe a 15-mile radius from your zip code, but keep it small, keep it tight, because people aren't going to travel an hour to get to your church. Let's be real. So you want to keep it maybe even as small as 5 or 10 miles outside of your area. People are going to travel 10, 15, 20, 25 minutes. But when you go into an hour, 90 minutes, that's too far of a radius. So keep it tight. Use video. Flyers are great, but people will connect with faces. Let it be your pastor's face in a warm, inviting tone, inviting people out, sharing that theme and letting them know that there's a place for them at your church. And in doing this, don't forget to include your service times and plan your visit button. That's so very important. On your website, you should have a plan your vision button. This will take people through the steps of knowing what to expect when they come to service. And this will give you an idea of who's actually planning on attending. So you can let your ushers and greeters know this information in advance. Also, in the plan your visit, it gives those guests an opportunity to give you their information, their email, so you could follow up with them in advance to say, hey, we're looking forward to seeing you. Can't wait to meet you. And once again, show them what to expect. Make it warm, make it welcoming, and make it real. And one thing that I want to totally discourage you from doing is do not just go out on Facebook or on Google and grab some pictures of somebody else's church that doesn't look like your church and post those in your ads. Use pictures of your church, because the last thing people want to do is see pictures online and expect one thing, and they come out to your service and they see something entirely different. Next, get ready. In the terms of TD Jakes, make your church guest ready. This one is so big. Now, I'm not talking about fancy lights or fog machines or things like that. What I'm talking about is smiles and signs and systems. Your greeters should act like they've been waiting for that guest all week. You know what? I have been to some churches where the greeters just seem so disgruntled and they have no smiles, and they're not excited for the church or excited for the service. Or even, I remember one greeter even started saying negative things about the church as I was walking in. Make sure your greeters are friendly and kind, and they have a heart to serve God. Some people just are not meant to be greeters. They don't have a friendly smile or disposition about them. You know what? There's something else that those folks could do. But make sure your greeters are there welcoming with the heart and love of Christ. Now, when it comes to your kids' check-in, go through it in advance. You may have more kids on Easter. This should be smooth. It should be safe. It should be fast. Let the parents feel secure that their children are going to be taken care of. Next, simple things. Make sure that your restrooms are clean. Make sure that your coffee is fresh. Make sure that your worship is powerful. This, I would recommend. Easter Sunday is not the Sunday to be practicing a new song that you've never sung before, but go with something that you know really moves and really your choir is familiar with and the congregation gets into. You know what? It's like this. You want to put your best foot forward. And yes, we're worshiping God and things aren't always going to be perfect. But as long as we put our best foot forward, because let's keep it real, your choir could make or break someone coming back to service. Your message needs to be very clear. Easter Sunday is not the Sunday for you to get up there and ramble. Let's just keep it. It's not the time to get up there and ramble. It's not the time to preach the entire Bible, but make the message very clear. And there's no shame in reaching out and ask for some help. If preaching isn't your strong point and you need help with your organizations, there's nothing wrong with reaching out to someone and asking them for some help to check things over, to make sure that the message is very clear. Because what you want that person visiting to leave with the message, with a theme in their heart, in their mind that they can repeat, that they can stew on, that they can have resonate in their spirit. And if you're all over the place and your sermon is so just confusing, then they're going to be confused and they're less likely to want to come back. Now, with that being said, the gospel is always front and center. Think excellence. Once again, think excellence without perfection, because when we prepare with love, guests will feel that. They will see that. the next thing, as so very vital as this, is build a follow-up funnel. Your guests come. Now what? Build a follow-up funnel. You give them the connection card. They sign it out. Who is going to take that card? What are they going to do with that card? You need to have these things in place. There's no use in getting 100, 200 new visitors if you're not going to contact them afterwards. You need to have these funnels in place so that everybody knows what's going to happen for the follow-up. So now you have your connection cards or your digital forms that people send out. Make sure that your ushers, your greeters are collecting them, okay? Then follow up thank you emails. Send those within 48 hours. By Tuesday, they should be getting an email saying thank you for coming. Then invite them to the next step. Maybe it's a new series, maybe it's a small group or a welcome lunch, but do something to invite them out again. And one thing I want to make very clear is this, is don't overwhelm them with 20 million things going on. No, absolutely not. And while I'm saying that, in the emails that you send out, like I said, don't overwhelm them with here's 50 things that you can do. Also, with your announcements, you don't have to announce everything that's going on in your church in the next year. Just because it's Easter Sunday, don't think that you have to throw out all this information. What's the most important thing? What's going on next week? What's going on in the next couple days, within the next month? Anything past that, save that for later, because that information overflow is basically, you think I'm letting people know what's going on, but in essence, it's hindering. It's like feeding somebody a drink of water with a fire hose. You're giving them too much. The next week, the next 2 weeks, the month, that's it. Don't go past there because they may not come again, but give them something immediate. Next week, come out to this. Next month, come out to that, but that's it. Okay, so here's my final encouragement. You may feel overwhelmed right now, and you might think, Lee, this sounds like a lot. Well, hear me on this. You don't have to do it all at once. You can take steps in doing that. Start with what you can do and pray over every step. And remember this, 1 Corinthians 15:58 says, be steadfast, immovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, knowing that your labor is not in vain. Everything that you do matter. Every flyer, every prayer, every handshake, because you're not just planning an event, you're setting the table for eternity. And by setting that table, we have to be strategic. We have to start planning as far out as possible and not wait till the last minute. So thanks for hanging out with me today. And if this has helped you, then do me a favor, share it with another pastor or leader who's prepping for Easter as well. Let's all build the kingdom together. God bless you. Share your church and your Easter Sunday experience. If you need more details on how to create some things, then feel free to reach out. My contact information is below. And God bless you, your church, and your Easter Sunday.